Sachs in the Morning. Sports, money, life. Steve Sachs.
Welcome to Sachs in the Morning. I'm Steve Sachs, and I'm so glad that you've decided to share a little bit of your time with me. This program is really all about success. Success in sports, to be sure, but we'll also talk about success with money and success in life and how all three can really impact your dreams and your passion. My goal is to have you inspired, informed, entertained, and most certainly motivated to follow your emotional heart after every episode. So let me tell you about Wendigo Tea Company. The founder of Wendigo Tea is Sky White, and he's a brilliant guy and a rock star, no less. And he spent 10 years traveling the world playing music and sampling tea at the same time. So he's picked only the best loose-leaf teas in the world for you to try. These teas are incredible and delicious, whether it's the Bigfoot Black Tea, which is a pure, simple black tea like nothing else you've ever tried, or the Siren Vocal Health Tea, which is an herbal tea developed for singers and performers to soothe the throat. They have the amazing Firebird Chai, which is sweet and spicy and doesn't need a bunch of milk and sugar to make it taste great. And then the Yeti White Tea, the King Dragon Oolong, Black Shuck Earl Grey, and many more. With this spectacular quality and hilarious whimsical branding, Wendigo Tea is out to change the way people think about tea. These aren't your grandma's dusty old tea bags. This is the highest quality tea you can find. So try some today and change the way you think about tea. Go to wendigotea.com and use the promo code of SAX at checkout. That's S-A-X, and save 15% on your purchase. Wendigo Tea, keeping each episode of Sachs in the Morning steeped in mystery. Hi, Steve Sachs here with Sachs in the Morning, and welcome to Thursday, April 27th. And I'm very excited to bring you this full-length interview with a guy who just exudes positivity. I mean, my gosh, the good vibes just ooze right out of this guy, right out of his pores. And that's the former Oakland A's and New York Yankee, Nick Swisher. Now, Nick was a phenomenal switch-hitting outfielder who really had a great career. I mean, he hit 20 home runs in 9 straight seasons, and he won a World Series with the Yankees in 2009. But Nick has always been known for his infectious personality, which you're going to hear today. We talked about his career, about fatherhood, and we talk about while baseball's behind him, the best years of his life certainly lay ahead. So I hope you enjoy this fantastic, energizing conversation with Nick Swisher. Nick, I'll tell you what, I've been wanting to have you on for a long time. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the great Nick Swisher, one of my favorite guys. I was fortunate to meet him at the Hall of Fame game in New York last year. And as you well know, people that know Nick Swisher, he could light up a damn room just by walking in it. He doesn't have to say a word, but you just know he's there. This guy is the most engaging, nicest guy that you could possibly meet. Nick, welcome to Sachs in the Morning.
Oh, Saxy, you're the man, bro. I feel like it was love at first sight for both of us. I mean, we definitely both have that high energy, high vibration in life.
Can you imagine one thing I told Nick too, I said, man, this guy is shredded. You ever see Nick's 42 years old, right? He looks like he's about 22. He's ripped. Nick is shredded, man. This guy is like, he had to spend a lot of time in the gym because he's got, Nick, here's what you should do. Put your arms up like this and say, man, I got to go to the veterinarian.
Man,
why is that?
Because
these puppies are sick. That's right.
Let's go, bro.
Let's go. Hey, Nick, so wanted to ask you, get into it a little bit. Tell us a little about early life. I mean, you're born and raised in Columbus, right? I know you were raised by your grandparents basically in West Virginia. But tell us about that first part of your life.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I feel like it's kind of one of the things that I went through early in my life was a little bit of struggle, right? Mm-hmm. A little bit of downtime, and that's kind of one of those things that, at least for the young kids that I work with, I want them to go through some tough times early in their life. I want them to know what failing feels like. I want them to know that they're not always going to win in life. That's the problem. I feel like there's this crazy there's this crazy feeling that you're always going to be winning in life. And that could not be further away from the truth.
Absolutely.
So for someone like me, I think everything really kind of hit me when I was in the 6th grade and my parents really kind of divorced. And that was the real big kind of like turning moment for me in my life. Like, wow, not everything is perfect. But one other thing that I really realized is life isn't always fair. And I think the earlier you can come to grips with that, I think the earlier you'll kind of get a grasp on how this whole world works. So for me, you know, my philosophy on trying to get through all that was just try and work as hard as I could. It was the easiest way to get away from everything and to clear my mind was to work, play sports, get away, be outside, be with my friends, try and do things. And so for myself, just kind of haven't had a great upbringing. Listen, my mom was great. My dad was great. It just didn't vibe out, and that's okay. And I'm in the process of writing a speech right now. I'm going to get into motivational speaking later this year.
Nice.
And
Nick, I've been doing it for 12 years, and it's the greatest thing.
It's got to be the best, dude.
And you would be a phenomenal motivational speaker. Just go out there and be yourself. I mean, you know, speak from the heart. If they can see you be transparent and you let them look inside your heart, I mean, they're going to pull for you, and you're going to kill them every
Well, I feel
time.
like that's kind of one of the things that I feel like that I've kind of got going for myself in life is the ability to communicate with others, right? The ability to just kind of like, you know, I can woo people. I love meeting new people and kind of, you know, catching them off. But, you know, I think that was one of the things that one of the quotes from that speech is, you know, I came from a broken home, but that doesn't mean that I was broken. So just because you come from that sort of, you know, life, I mean, 50% of marriages, it happens, right? Like, I mean, so just for myself to be able to kind of go through that little bit of struggle in life, I think really helped me out later in life. You know, I've been married to my wife now for 12 and a half years. We got
Joanna Garcia.
Yeah, you know it, baby.
Absolutely.
I'm just riding coattails.
The better half, Nick.
Sexy, you know?
The better half, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So for myself, just kind of going through that sort of upbringing really put a lot of things in perspective for me. So I think, you know, when I got, you know, had that opportunity, you know, after my folks split, my mom and I, we weren't vibing out, you know, it was just a bad relationship for both of us. And I think we both knew that. And so from right then and there, after my 8th grade year, I moved to Parkersburg, West Virginia with my grandparents. And now that was probably the greatest move that I've ever made in my life. But to be able to make that decision at 13, 14 years old, like, you know, you look back on that and I'm like, man, that took some balls. Bro.
Huge decision.
Huge huevos. So
uproot and go all the way. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Nick, how do you relate that to, well, what you've gone through in life and how you've made it and all the things that you've done? You got an amazing life story. How do you get this over to kids that you talk to, and how do they accept the fact that it's not going to be a cherry boat ride the whole way? You know what I mean? No doubt.
Well, I think that's kind of one of the things though, is that, you know, when you're going through those tough times, that's when you learn the most about yourself and who you are as a human being. When you're winning all the time and just
easy, right?
Riding high on life, like life is cake, man. It's easy. I feel like that's kind of where I'm at in my life right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like at that early moment in my life, and plus at 12, 13, 14 years old, everything just seems like it's like this close to your face. Like it's just like right in front of you. You can't see the forest through the trees. And you know, I had a younger brother at the time and tried to make things a little easier for him. And the only thing I could really think of was like, oh my God, bro, it's going to be amazing. We're going to get 2 Christmases now, bro. It's going to be amazing. You know,
you always looked on the bright side, right?
Even back then, trying to find the silver lining in such a, you know, a shitty situation.
Yeah.
So I think for myself, just kind of going through that was one of the best things that ever happened, because 2 people got their hands on me and really, really taught me what it was to be a man, taught me what it was to be respectful, and taught me what it was to be a good human being. And that was Betty Lorraine Swisher and Donald Eugene Swisher, my grandparents.
Nice. Oh, and that's great.
I mean, if you've ever seen the movie Talladega Nights, you've heard the term granny law.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened to me, bro. Hey, that woman, bro. If you've ever had to go outside and pick your own switch, you have no idea. Pick the biggest one you can. Just pick the biggest thing you can get your hands on. It doesn't nearly hurt as much.
Hey, Nick, I got, you know, your parents, your grandparents, everybody's obviously had a magnificent effect on you. You can see that. It just runs out of you. But a lot of that is just Nick Swisher too, you know, with the seat. How do you stay so positive all the time? I mean, do you look at things like, well, I could spend this energy being sad, or I can be up and away and the happiest person in the world by being happy? It's really a choice, isn't it?
Yeah, true. I mean, I really appreciate you saying that, bro. I mean, listen, that's kind of one of the best pieces of advice that my father's always given me. And he told me from the time I was a young kid was, we all have the ability to do one thing in life. All of us have the ability to do this one thing in life. And so for me, just having that understanding that you could choose, you have the ability to choose how you want to act in life, how you want to be in life, the individual that you want to be. For me, bro, it's
interesting.
Like, you know, it's funny because it's like I've been into a lot more reading as of lately, and I've been, you know, reading these Admiral McCraven, right? He gave the commencement speech at UT.
Okay.
And he was talking about, you know, how you make your bed. Like if you want to change the world, the first thing you need to do in the morning is make your bed. And then you kind of Yeah, and then
Make
you
your
kind
bed.
of branch
Right.
off from there.
Mhm.
This guy right here, man, just the amazing things that I have learned just from like just listening to him and just how he goes about his life and how simple he makes things. Like,
Wow.
you know, for me, that's kind of the thing. It's like I'm at this point in my life where I've got these two amazing daughters that I'm helping raise, and I'm doing my best. I mean, literally, it's like the most amazing, hardest thing I've ever done in my life is raising two daughters because
Yeah.
I'm such a meathead guy, you know? Like, so you have to handle these girl situations a lot
Oh,
differently, man. You know?
guys like that, when you call it the meathead guy, the best dads ever. My dad was a big tough guy, like, you know, but he was great. You know, he was you knew always where you stood with him, and it was a great thing. Nick, I wanted to ask you, I want to get into you a little bit, you know, how you got drafted in the first round, 16th overall pick by the Oakland A's. You had a phenomenal career. I mean, people talk about what a great person you are, and they should concentrate a lot too on how you were a solid middle of the order run producing home run hitter, 9 straight years of 20 plus home runs. I mean, you were a solid middle of the lineup hitter and a switch hitter. Did you always switch hit, or did that come along later when you were a pro?
Yeah, that actually came along after high school. I was playing summer ball and I fractured my thumb on my left hand. And, you know, I mean, I was just like, man, I got to do something here, you know? And so all I could do was really swing bottom hand, left hand stuff. I would do a lot of top hand, right handed. And then I'd start messing around with some left handed stuff. And I remember we used to always play home run derby down at City Park in Parkersburg, West Virginia with my buddies. And they always used to make me bat left handed because they were like, no way, bro, you can't hit right handed. It won't even be a competition. So I had to start learning how to hit left handed. And then next thing you know, Saxy, then I start getting a little sexy in the box, bro.
Little punch on it, huh?
Yeah, get a little click, a little
cocky
kick.
in there. Yeah, love
Then
it.
all of a sudden, I started launching balls.
Wow.
And so then I went in my freshman year at Ohio State and ended up hitting 10 home runs that year. And I hit 9 home runs left-handed, 1 home run right-handed.
Wow.
So it was by far the best thing I've ever done. Even now, as an advisor for the Yankees, and as a mentor to these young kids, and and someone that they ask their opinions. I'm trying to look for that from my guys. I'm trying to look for from all that stuff from my guys to be able to have that versatility, to be able to play infield, outfield, switch hit. I mean, listen, these cats are throwing 800 miles an hour today. So I don't know exactly how I'd go about doing it, but I definitely know I'd try and be a little more aggressive in the count, because there's no way you're going to be hitting consistently with 2 strikes in today's game. These guys are way too good for that.
I don't know if you had to face Nolan Ryan, but I had 100 at bats against Nolan Ryan, and most of the at bats were 2 pitches. Nick, I know where you're coming from, because I wasn't waiting around for this dude to get and then throw that hacker on me. Forget it, So
yeah, man.
But did you know that they actually did a blow up version of filming of charting Nolan Ryan? Because back when Nolan Ryan was pitching, they had the ball coming out of the hand and or out across the plate, and today they do it coming out of the hand, right? And so they did a blow up version of Nolan Ryan and clocked him, and Nolan Ryan on today's standards was 108. That's what Nolan Ryan was doing.
That's what I'm saying. I remember my dad telling me a story about facing him one time in spring training.
Yeah.
And I think people hear these stories about Nolan Ryan, but unless you really know who the man is, and you know how he lived his life, and you know how he just didn't put up with any shit, dude.
No,
like
not at all.
6'5", he would curl up, and my dad said he used to grunt. Through, so he was like,
he did. Every pitch was,
and that's like, scary, because
and
it's
then
like
he would get the ball and paw the ground like a bull and stare at you, and then walk around the mound, and he'd throw at you or whatever. He didn't care. I mean, this dude was like, he was like from another planet. It's hilarious.
Yes. Oh yeah, and by the way, that was the one thing that he said. It was the scariest at bat of his life.
Really?
But he also said the one thing that he was so impressed about, and there's a couple guys that kind of popped to my mind, was when the ball kind of comes out of your hand, it almost just kind of like penetrates through. It just like pierces through. There's no like let up on the fastballs. You see a lot of these guys, might leave the hand at 94, but it ends up at like 90 or 91 by the time it gets to the plate. It felt like Nolan could keep that velocity out of his fingertips until it reached the catcher's mitt.
That is the description of the ball had some hop on it. And that's what it's really doing, is it never just went down. That's how hard this guy threw.
That's what we call it. We call it nowadays, got that ride. Got that ride on that fastball. That's the stat. Yep. Yes, sir.
That's good. Nick, so in your career, you were an all-star. You won a World Series. You just did everything as a ball player. Played 12 seasons. But and that's great, and we all love that. But I got to have you tell me about this children's album that you had done in 2012. I mean, you've just done so many good things for people, and that's what I want our audience to know. That you're way more than a baseball player. Tell us about this children's album that you did. I know you're proud of that.
I mean, sexy. How many times is somebody going to come to you and be like, Swish, do you want to sing on your own album? I'm like, of course I have to do that, right? Like, no doubt about it.
You can sing now if you want, brother. You can do whatever you want.
Hey, go check it out. Believe on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream.
What's the name of it, Nick?
It's called Believe. And listen, and the only reason why it was called Believe was Bernie Williams wrote a song called Believe at the end of that album. And I sang, he played the guitar.
Nice.
I mean, Bernie Williams is one of the most talented guys. I mean, bro, you've probably jammed with him.
For people that don't know about Bernie Williams, he's a great musician. And he's sung the anthem at different ballparks, whatever. He's a legitimate musician. So yes. So go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry. I just wanted them to know that.
I was just thinking like two musicians I know, like Barry Zito and Bernie Williams. I mean, these dudes absolutely can just light it up, you know?
Wow. Do they need a drummer? Because that's what I do, Nick.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
I played since I was 9. I can play. So if they need a drummer, you know, I'll get in there and do that. So whatever.
You could definitely get in there, man. You could light it up for sure, bro. No doubt
Nick,
about it.
Comparisons between, you know, back even before you played, comparisons even before I played to now. I mean, you know, the rule changes. Are you in, you out? What do you think? How's baseball trending? What do you think about everything in that light?
I love the game, so I'm all for it. Listen, you know, I am a baseball historian in a sense. I mean, I was raised by a man who played in the 70s, bro. So you know,
I played against your dad when he was with the Padres.
Exactly. At the very end, you caught it. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And so that's where my heart lies, is in that game. Obviously, way different now than it was back then, but still have my heart in the game. And, you know, I have aspirations to be a manager someday down the road. You know, I've got 2 beautiful daughters that are at the house right now, 6 and 9 years old. So I'm doing the best I can to be the best, you know, father.
Oh, dude, you're going to be a manager someday.
Buddy.
You're going to be a manager.
So, man.
Oh,
I think,
God, come on.
All this life is about is relationships. And I think that's kind of one of my strengths. So I
You'll
think
be
if
a
I
manager.
can make sure I can get the right people in place, you know, just making sure my team around me to handle all the X's and O's, making sure I got some, you know, some positive, you know, some uplifted human beings that want to be at the ballpark every day long. I think that always matches up good.
Yeah, one thing I can say about hurrying up the game, I get it. I like, you know, the rhythm of the game. I get that stuff, but when my dad took us every other year, we were fortunate to go to Candlestick and take us to a game there. And I thought that was the most beautiful ballpark I'd ever seen in my life, with the green AstroTurf and the orange signs on the field. Yeah. It was amazing. And until I had to play there during the night, and it was, you know, horribly windy, whatever. But I couldn't stand leaving the ballpark early. I wanted to stay there at the ballpark. So there's some people that are saying, why do we have to hurry the game up? I mean, you know, when there's a great game going, I don't think people are looking at their watches. The game kind of speaks for itself. I mean, it's endured, you know, world wars and tornadoes and earthquakes, and it's a great game, even with its warts, you know. So that's the other side of it, Nick. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, listen, you know, there's it just seems like everybody's in a hurry in today's world. You know, everybody needs to slow down a touch, like relax a little bit, like enjoy what you have around you. I think that we're in such a world where, number one, I think we follow the dollar, and obviously the advertising dollars is what makes our, you know, what really kind of runs our game. So you have to think about it from that perspective. But also for me, even playing in a game, I couldn't imagine going to play the Red Sox in a Friday night lights game, Yankees versus Red Sox, and it's a 2-hour and 10-minute game. I'd be like, bro, I haven't even gotten loose yet, you know? Like, but that's also too, you know, like, listen, I understand there's a lot more cool things to do in this world than maybe there were 20 years ago. But I think, you know, for me, I love being at the ballpark. I mean,
me too.
You know, Saxy, for 7 o'clock games.
Cut out Sweet Caroline if you have to at the Red Sox park. That'll cut 2 minutes off. Come on.
That's
I mean,
what I'm saying. Like, just in general. So, I mean, listen, I love the game. I love what the commissioner's doing. Seems like people are really, really happy about where the game is. And so for me, listen, if everyone else is happy, I'm happy too. So I think that we're in a good spot right now. I think, you know, obviously, you know, got the season up and running.
Sure.
And really just excited to see,
you know,
how the season's going to work.
Going through all that crap the last couple of years, I'm so glad that we're off and running and it's normal now. Nick, I wanted to ask you, going from the Oakland A's, where there's some challenges there, you know, with this club, with the ballpark and all that. What was it like going from there to the Yankees, where, I mean, that's some people think that's a tough place to play. I didn't think it was a tough place to play because there were so many stars. They didn't care about me. I just got to quietly go in there and do my job.
Exactly.
But how about you going from Oakland? Because we played on a lot of the same teams. I played for Oakland. So did you. At the very end, I was with Oakland and Yankees and, White Sox. We all played for. What was it like going to the New York Yankees where you got to win?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, listen, you got to remember this really kind of vibed out to my personality, right? From Jump Street. I mean, I've always been a ham. I love being the center of attention. I'm 42.
Can you imagine we were teammates?
Oh my God, it would have been amazing, bro. They wouldn't have been able to keep the roof on the building, bro. No doubt. No doubt about it. So just to be able to kind of, have that sort of personality. And I think the one thing that maybe made my experience in New York a little better than most was, that first year, man, it was kind of a storybook, writing for me. I started that year off on the bench as the fifth outfielder. And,
really?
I got a quick at bat in the first game. I walked. My second game, I didn't start. I ended up getting an AB. I doubled. And then the third game of the season, I got my first start.
Wow.
I went 3 for 5, popped a homer, drove in 5. Like it could not have been like the best story ever, right? And 2 days later, my buddy Xavier Nady at the time, who was the right fielder last year, got injured. And that really kind of opened up a spot for me. And from the moment that I got over there right field, I never left.
Yeah.
And I think there was a crazy respect that went into everything that I was doing for the fans in New York. As well as the fans in New York just being like, wow, this guy's crazy, man. He's off the wall. He looks like he's enjoying every second out there.
Did they have a chant for you in right field or in the outfield?
Swish, and I turned around, I'd snap back and I'd do my Swisher salute right here because it was a salute to the fans, thanking them for the way they welcomed me into their city, almost like a family member. Beautiful. And it was also, as my grandfather, who was a military man, who was passed, who was a major part of my life, I wanted to make sure he gets a lot of love too.
Absolutely right. That's a great thing. And hey, I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but I'm just excited to talk to you. I got to ask you this, Nick. I've been wanting to ask you, dude. You had a chance to play at Notre Dame in the game of football. That is like my ultimate dream. Is Notre Dame football is the unbelievable thing. I got to meet Joe Montana the other day.
Oh, did you?
Because I'm a huge Notre Dame fan and I'm a huge 49er fan. So I got to meet Joe Montana the other day, and I got to talk to him for about 10 minutes by myself. It was unbelievable. I was beside myself. What was it like? Did you fight with that? And what position were you going to play? Were you going to be a safety, or what were you?
Yeah, I was a strong safety. That was my number one spot, right? I didn't have the speed to be a running back, even though in high school I was. But I think, running that cover 2, man, was nice. Me and my best friend, Eric Grimm, he was a free safety. He had this half of the field. I had this half of the field. I mean, it was a magical thing.
Nice.
But listen, I mean, Rudy must have got you like he got me when Rudy Rudiger came out. When that movie came out, it hit me in the soul.
I'm telling you, we had him yesterday on the program. It was amazing.
Oh, stop it, dude. No
we had Rudy on yesterday.
Yo, it was tell amazing. Rudy, what's up, dog? From Swish, man, dude. You're the man, dude.
All right.
He put Notre Dame on the map for a lot of people, man. There's no doubt about it.
He did. Hey, I talk to people now that say, hey, to this day, 30 years later, they say, I watch the movie and I still cry every time I see that movie.
Dude. Every time, man.
And that guy, you and that guy are cut out of the same cloth. You guys are so positive. It's unbelievable. But that's what it's all about, right, Nick? I mean, the positive nature and the way you approach things, that's where it's got to be.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, Saxy, man, how you want to live your life, man, how you want people to remember you. You want to be a gristly, just crispy, old guy that just doesn't want anyone around. Right. Just
when I play,
no to
that
everything.
Type of guy, right?
Yeah,
forget that.
No way, baby. I'm going to be lighthearted. I'm going to live this life up because you only got one of them. So I might as well enjoy this thing all the way through. I'm already on my longevity book, Lifespan by Sinclair, right?
You got a book coming out.
No, not me, but the book I'm reading right now. Okay. It's called Lifespan, Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to.
Nice.
And it's all about living to like that glorious number of 100.
You got to write a book too, Nick. You got to do that.
You know what? It's funny, man. I've been working.
You're going to live your biggest life now. I mean, you've lived an unbelievable life. You got a great family and all that, but you got another thing waiting for you.
Dude.
You got whatever you want in baseball. You could be a broadcaster easy on MLB Network. You could do whatever you wanted. You could write a book. You've got 50 million things to do. Dude, you got to get busy.
Nah, bro, you're the man for saying that.
Serious.
My wife hit me with that the other day at dinner, and she was like,
"She's right.
Do you know
Listen to her.
Your biggest accompliment in life hasn't even happened yet."
No, they're coming.
And I was just like, the fact that I have a woman in my life that looks at me like that, maybe like you haven't, like you've been to the top of the mountain in one thing, right? Yeah. Baseball. But there's so many other things you're about to accomplish in life. And so now I've been working with this, this speech writer, and his name's Greg, and he's fantastic. He calls himself a spiritual archaeologist.
Oh,
and so
wow.
I've started
Okay.
at the beginning of my life, and I've worked my way up to 42 years old. And so what he's done is he's uncovered all this gold, like all these amazing things that have happened in my life that I could base my speeches on, which I've been getting in on these TED Talks as of late. And man, I'm telling you, 10, 15 minutes, bro, I could sit here and give you a TED Talk now about things in life, So I don't know if I might redo them, call them Swish Talks or something, but I don't know.
Hey, you could.
Something cool,
Swish. This is what I do when I do a speech. Is I remember one thing, because I had a mentor that helped me write my speeches and do all that stuff. Is you gotta tell them what you're gonna tell them. You gotta tell them, and then tell them what you told them. That's all you do in a speech. Mostly in doing a speech, 70% of doing speeches is telling stories. Yeah. And you're king at that. 70% of it is telling stories that relate to your issue. Sure. And you just have fun with it. And they're going to go, whoa, this is a great speech.
Yeah, I just, my thing, Saxy, is I've always been able to have the juice, man. I've always been able to have the hype. And, I low-key call myself the best hype man in the league just because, I feel like I am the original Cameo. If you need a video to somebody or you need some love, I'm your guy. 30-second spots.
Are you on Cameo.com?
No, I did it for a little bit, man. Then it kind of got overwhelming a little bit. I wanted to make sure I could get everybody, but I just felt horrible, charging people money for me, just making you feel better for the day,
Gosh, well, it makes you feel better too that you get some dough. Right? Hey, Nick, but are you this way when you wake up, or does it take you an hour to get revved up? Did you wake up like this?
What, man? I am. I can honestly say this is a lot of my day for sure.
Really?
Obviously,
you must be tired at the end of the day, though. You got to be tired.
I sleep like a baby.
I
sleep like a rock star. Well,
when
that's
that
the
sun
thing.
goes down, I go down. When the sun goes down, when the sun comes up,
when these eyes are closed, brother, I'm useless. I'm absolutely useless.
Really? I bet you do.
And
Nick,
then my wife Joe's looking at me like, Nick, take the dogs out. And I'm like, what? What's happening? What's happening? I'm sleeping.
I'm too sleepy. Right. Nick, do you miss baseball?
You know what? I guess I could say no, I don't miss baseball because I'm still around it as much as I am. Now, I'm not one of those guys that has, this is the only piece of artwork
I wish I would have done this
in my house. That's the only thing I have. And this is us winning the championship in 2009, right?
Beautiful.
But I'm not one of those guys that tries to relive things in the past, because I don't need to relive things in the past. I got so many amazing things happening right now in my life that I don't need to have a trophy room to dig myself on all the cool shit that I've done. That's not my swag. My stuff is all about dude, I took my daughter to riding this morning. That's why I had to push it back 30 minutes because riding went long.
No worries.
We had to hack Finn the whole nine. We got our Navy boys. So those are the things that really kind of bring me joy and bring me excitement in life. So, and as soon as I get done with this, I'm going to go out and we'll play 9 holes with my homies outside today. After that, I'm going to go to the ballpark for a little Tampa Tarpons single A opening day game today. So bro, I got all these amazing things going on in my life. So it's yes, you can go back and live in the past if you want. But I think that's kind of one of the things. Even I talked to my dad about that. My dad has this beautiful trophy room of kind of all the things that he accomplished in his life and all the autographs and stuff. And so he's like, man, every time I come in this room, it takes me to a good time. And I'm like, well, Dad, why the hell is right now not your best time? You know what I'm saying? Right. Why is your 2 granddaughters are right here? What makes that 1976 All-Star game cooler than what you got right here in front of you? You know what I'm saying? So I guess it's just kind of how you want to look at it. I just think for myself, man, I got a lot of stuff I'm still going to do in life, bro. I'm a puppy in life. I'm 42 years old, bro, and I'm just getting cooking.
You're getting cooking, man. I'm telling you what, you're great shape. You're a great looking guy. You got a beautiful wife and kids. You got everything in the world going for you. I agree with you, Nick. You know what? People ask me, do you miss baseball? I say, no, I don't miss baseball. I left it all out there. I gave everything I had. You know what I miss, Nick? I miss my teammates. I love my teammates. You know what that's like. I mean, we didn't even play together, but there's a brotherhood there, man.
There is definitely
sacred.
A crazy respect that goes into that for sure. There's no doubt about it, man.
Because I know
for the people in the fraternity, they're part of it,
Oh yeah. I know exactly in some ways what Nick Swisher went through. Even though I didn't know you're growing up, I know what you had to go through to get where you got. And same thing about me. You know that we had to struggle. We were always the best at our positions growing up. And then we got in the minor leagues. Everybody was as good as we were, right? And so that's what separated everybody. So there's that common bond in baseball that I want our fans and our listeners to know about. It's a really
Totally.
special thing.
It is amazing. And it
it's
doesn't
always
matter
sacred,
if you
isn't it?
played for it doesn't matter if you played for 3 minutes or you played for 20 years.
Doesn't matter.
Like you are respected the same
Yeah,
way the next
absolutely.
individual down the table is. And I think that's what makes
Absolutely.
our game great. And I think that's, kind of the philosophy that I always took was leave the game better than when you showed up, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I hear you.
when you leave, the game should be better because of what you
Mhm.
did for the game. And I
Somebody
think that
benefited from you being there.
exactly.
I think that's a
And
great
I
thing.
feel like I can honestly say, I feel like I did a little bit of that, man. I
Heck
feel
yeah,
like
you did.
I left a good path.
Yeah.
And now, it's funny. My wife, she has a new television show coming out for Netflix. It's called
What is it? Tell us.
Ultimatum. It's called
Ultimatum.
Ultimatum. It's a dating
Okay.
show, right?
On
And
Netflix.
it's going to be
Okay.
great.
We'll
Sweet
look for it.
Magnolias comes out in July on Netflix, just so everybody knows that, season 3, which is
Sweet.
amazing.
Magnolias. Great.
So anyway, so she went to Los Angeles this last week and did The Talk, the television show, right?
Sure.
And it's great because everybody on that show is fantastic, from Amanda to who else is on there? Akbar's on there, right? Cheryl's on there.
Yeah.
Everybody's so great, so we know everyone. And Joe was
Good.
telling a story that we asked my youngest daughter about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, what Daddy did for his career, what he did in life for his career.
Oh man.
And she looked at me dead faced. She was like, firefighter?
Oh.
I'm like, no, Sebe. Well, her name's Sailor. We call her Sebe instead of Bebe.
Yeah.
Sebe,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, no, say, not even close. And she was like, policeman?
Oh
I'm like,
my gosh.
Say, Mama, what this logo? Remember we talk about the Bronx, right? Like
Right.
the Yankees,
Right.
like baseball. She was like, did you play baseball, Dad?
Oh my
Like,
gosh. Really?
You know what?
That's
You know what?
adorable.
Forget it, man.
Adorable.
If my youngest daughter only views me as daddy, that's all
great.
I really care about, bro.
That's a
You know what I'm
beautiful
saying?
thing. You bet. Yeah. What do you want to be remembered as? A great.
That's it,
great,
man. You know what? It's like you can
a
go
great
about living
dad.
your life however you want, man. You can
Yeah.
step on people to get to the top, and you can do it that way, or you can leave a great path, right? You
And
can
bring some
never
people
burn a
with you.
bridge, and you can uplift people along the way.
Absolutely.
I feel
You
like
do
we're in a crazy time right now in the
We
world,
are.
whether it's for financial aspect with wars, all that stuff with
Yep.
I mean, I feel like, man, we got a lot of bad things going on in the world. We need to turn that around ourselves, man. I think we have to come to the grips that Superman ain't coming to save us. It is us that have to help ourselves. So at the end of the day, realizing that it's up to each and every one of us to make this world a better place. I think if we all got that, this place would be a whole lot better.
Absolutely, Nick. And yeah, hey, listen, Nikki, I could go on here with you for 5 hours and we'd just be getting started. But I just want to tell you, you're the greatest. I'm so glad that you came on with this. I was hoping that we could put you out there because everybody needs to listen to you talk. And dude, like we said, you're just starting out right now. You got millions of things ahead of you. You got so much going for you. And I can't thank you enough for being on here, Nick. We love you here. So thank you so much.
Saxy, you're the man, bro. Like ever since I laid eyes on you, bro, me and you have gotten along. I really appreciate you and everything you're doing. Continue to keep doing this podcast, bro. I feel like you're making a major mark. You're giving a lot of people a lot of good stuff, man. A lot of people can come here. If you need a pat on the back, if you need a little information. Because, bro, hey, I have your attitude. You have my attitude.
That's
so let's
it.
continue to keep this thing going strong, bro.
I hear
We're going to
ya.
help a lot of people along the way.
All right, my friend. Hey, Nikki, thank you so much, buddy.
Yes, sir, baby. Take it easy, man. I'll see
You
you
have a great
soon.
day. See you, buddy. Bye-bye, Nick. If you like what you heard today, please give us a positive review, subscribe, and share the program. Also, be sure to listen to my Sax in the Morning shorts 3 days a week for a couple of minutes of uplifting suggestions to get your day off to a great start. Our music is performed by my adorable niece, Elena Jane. And remember, to reach your goals and your dreams, follow your emotional heart.